Do you ever wake up with your heart already racing before the day has even begun? Like your body decided to panic before your mind was even awake. That's not just how you are. That's morning anxiety. And it happens because your brain is replaying old emotional memories the second you open your eyes. It is like waking up in a story that started yesterday, one you didn't choose, but one that's already shaping how you feel today. But why does this happen so often? Why does your brain go straight into fear mode when nothing bad has even happened yet? And most importantly, is there a way to stop that wave of anxiety before it crashes over you? In this video, I'll show you how your mind works in those first fragile seconds after waking and why they read the most powerful moment of the entire day. You'll understand the science behind morning anxiety and how breathing and language can reset your emotional state. And most importantly, I'll teach you a simple 60-second morning ritual, just breath, and one short phrase to cut through fear before it takes over and start your day grounded, calm, and in control. Why does anxiety feel stronger in the morning, before anything has even happened? Think about it. You open your eyes, the sun is barely up, and yet your chest is already tight. Your thoughts are already racing through everything that could go wrong. It's almost like the day started running before you even put your shoes on. And here's the truth. It's not random. Your brain is a storyteller, and every morning it picks up the story where it left off. The Stoics understood this long before neuroscience existed. Epictetus taught that it's not events that disturb us, but the judgments we make about them. In other words, what shakes you is not the morning itself, it is the story your mind starts telling the moment you wake. If your first thought is, "I'm already behind," your body prepares for a chase. If it's, "I can't handle today," your brain readies for defeat before the first step. The judgment shapes the feeling. Seneca compared the mind to a river. If you don't guide its flow early, it will carry you wherever it wants, often back into the storms of yesterday. Morning anxiety is just that. The current of yesterday's emotions pulling you downstream before you've even had a chance to steer. The key is learning to redirect that current as soon as you wake up. Buddhist philosophy offers a similar insight. Thoughts, it teaches, are like passing clouds. They are not who you are. The mistake most people make is believing the first anxious thought that shows up in the morning. They say, "I'm anxious," instead of "anxiety is passing through me." That small shift in language changes everything. One defines your identity. The other defines a temporary state. And identity has weight. The brain listens closely to the words you use about yourself. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine waking up and finding someone whispering in your ear. If the first words they said were, "You're not ready for today," would you feel calm? Probably not. But the voice that whispers that to you most mornings, "I sent to someone else," it asks your own. And just like you can choose to ignore an unhelpful stranger, you can choose not to follow that first anxious story. This is where ancient wisdom and modern science start to meet. Both point to the same truth. Your first thoughts are not destiny. They are suggestions, and suggestions can be rewritten. The Stoics called it prohairesis, the power to choose how you respond. Buddhism calls it non-attachment, the art of observing without becoming. Today, we might simply call it awareness, the pause between the spark and the flame. Morning anxiety loses much of its power the moment you stop treating it as a fact and start treating it as a passing message. And the earlier in the day you do this, the easier it is to redirect. That's why the very first minute after waking is not just another minute, it asks a door. And if you walk through it consciously, you set the tone for everything that follows. In the next part, we'll look at what science reveals about this window, how you're breathing your memories, and even your brainwaves are wired to reactivate fear when you wake, and how a simple intentional ritual can change the entire story before it begins. So what is actually happening inside your body and brain when you wake up anxious, even before your day begins? The truth is, your anxiety isn't new, it's memory. Scientists have discovered that as you transition from sleep to wakefulness, your brain reactivates emotional memories stored in deeper regions like the amygdala and hippocampus. It is like your nervous system is replaying yesterday's emotional soundtrack before you've had time to press stop. And if that soundtrack was fear, worry, or stress, that's the song you wake up to. Your breathing also plays a bigger role than most people realize. When you wake up and your breath is shallow and fast, which is common when anxiety hits, it sends a signal to your brain that something is wrong. The brain listens carefully to the body. If your breath says danger, your amygdala turns up the volume on fear, releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. That's why you can wake up perfectly safe in bed and still feel like you're running from something. But the opposite is also true. When your breath slows and deepens, it flips a biological switch. The parasympathetic nervous system, the part that calms you, comes online. Heart rate drops, cortisol production slows, and your body sends a new message: we're safe. Heart rate drops, cortisol production slows, and your body sends a new message: we're safe. Studies show that even 1 minute of slow, rhythmic breathing reduces amygdala activity and lowers anxiety levels measurably. It's not magic, it's biology. Words matter here too. The language you use in those first moments after waking reinforces what your body is already feeling. Say to yourself, "I'm so anxious," and the brain interprets that as confirmation of threat. But say, "This is just energy, I can guide it," and the signal changes. Research in affect labeling, the science of naming emotions, shows that putting feelings into words can actually reduce fear responses in the brain. You're not lying to yourself. You're reframing the data your mind is processing. And timing is everything. In the first few minutes after waking, your brain is in a unique state, not fully asleep, not fully awake. This bridge state is highly receptive to change. Think of it like wet clay, easy to shape before it hardens. This is why a small action like 1 minute of breathing and a single, well-chosen phrase can have an outsized impact on how your entire day unfolds. Scientists at Northwestern University found that breathing rhythm directly influences fear processing, and that slower, nasal breathing helps synchronize neural circuits tied to calm and memory regulation. Other studies show that breathwork can reduce cortisol levels and improve emotional control within minutes. In other words, the first minute of your morning is not a throwaway. It is your greatest opportunity to rewrite how your body and brain respond to the day. So here's the good news: you're not stuck waking up in fear. That anxious surge I sent to you life sentence. It has a habit loop you can interrupt. And you don't need an hour-long meditation or complicated routine to do it. In fact, in the next part, I'll show you how to use just 60 seconds, a single minute, to reset your breath, rewire your thoughts, and cut the anxiety loop before it starts. It's simple, science-backed, and you can start tomorrow morning. Let's pause for a moment and bring everything we've learned together. We discovered that morning anxiety isn't random. It is your brain replaying emotional memories the second you wake up, carrying yesterday's stress into today. We saw Stoic philosophy teaches us that it's not events that disturb us, but the stories we attach to them, and that we can choose a new story the moment the day begins. We explored Buddhist wisdom, which reminds us that thoughts are clouds passing by, not facts written in stone. And science confirmed what ancient thinkers already knew: your breath, language, and first thoughts can flip the biological switches that decide how your day will feel. Slow breathing activates the parasympathetic system and lowers cortisol. Thoughtful language changes the brain's interpretation of emotions. And all of this is most powerful in that fragile window between sleep and waking. Now imagine this. Tomorrow morning, you open your eyes, and instead of a rush of fear, there's space. Your chest feels open, your breath is steady, and your thoughts are calm. You haven't even left the bed, and yet the day feels different, lighter, more manageable. And as you get up, that sense of calm follows you. You're not reacting to the day anymore. You're shaping it. That's what happens when you stop letting morning anxiety run the show and start training your brain to reset itself in the first minute. Here's how to do it. Tomorrow morning, the moment you wake up, don't reach for your phone. Don't rush to get up. Just stay still. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Now breathe in deeply through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 2, and exhale slowly for a count of 6. Feel your belly rise and fall under your hand. Do this for about 1 minute, just 5 or 6 cycles of breath. While you breathe, repeat this simple phrase in your mind: "This is just energy and I can guide it." Or choose words that feel true to you, like, "I am safe. I choose how this day begins." It might feel small, but this is the reset. The deep, slow breathing sends a signal to your body that you're safe. It tells your amygdala there's no danger here. The words you repeat guide your brain's interpretation of that signal, turning fear into energy, panic into possibility. With repetition, this tiny ritual builds new neural pathways that make calm your default instead of chaos. Do it tomorrow and the next day, and the day after that. Because like carving a path through grass, each repetition makes the trail clearer. And soon, what once felt automatic, that surge of anxiety the moment you wake, will feel optional. If this video helped you understand why your mornings feel the way they do and how to change them, tell me in the comments. What phrase will you use tomorrow morning? And don't forget to subscribe for daily videos like this, tools rooted in science and in denies. And don't forget to subscribe for daily videos like this, ancient wisdom to help you reprogram your mind and live with more peace, clarity, and control every single day.